Hello and welcome everyone. This is Type V3 with a model kit review of the Danball Senki LBX Zenon. Full disclosure, I know very little about the anime franchise this comes from. Also, this review will show you exactly what you're getting out of the box, thus no custom paint or extra details have been applied. LBX Zenon is a 5-inch tall Dark Knight with similarities to Final Fantasy IV's main protagonist, and that's the best way I can describe him. He's comprised of gray, slate, and violet plastics with magenta inlays and stickers to fill out the details. The cape is unfortunately a thin paper cutout which makes it very fragile, but it still looks neat and I like how it's attached on an angle to give it a much more dynamic feel. The real winning factor of the aesthetics is that it resembles a complete toy and doesn't reveal any of its model kit roots. Of course, painting sections of the kit yourself or adding in some panel lining will no doubt make the figure stand out that much more. Yet I have to admit that I'm fully satisfied with it just out of the box. Also, as a fun fact, this figure is in 1:1 scale with the model seen in the anime. Zenon has a ball-jointed neck and head, so there's pretty good range there. The shoulders are on ball joints, there's a bicep swivel, if you can get it to move. An elbow joint. It's very limited in its range. Check that out. It's barely 90 degrees. A ball-jointed wrist. A torso swivel. No crunch, just a swivel. These waist pieces can move up because they are on their own hinges to allow for the ball-jointed hips. And a slight thigh swivel. Single-jointed knee, which has the same problem as the elbow of being very limited in its range. And a really good ankle ball joint. So, here's the thing. There's a lot of great articulation, but as you can tell, a lot of the range supplied is just not that great. Is that a bad thing? Well, yes and no, because the bad side is, of course, that means he has some limited posability, but the good side to that is he's very solid. I mean, for a model kit, this thing feels solid. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It feels like an action figure. It feels great in your hands. It doesn't feel brittle or like it's going to fall apart. It is pretty awesome. Also, the big key factor to the big gimmick with LBX model kits are their customizability. So if you've ever seen things like Metabots from back in the day, what you can do is pull off certain limbs or whatnot, and you can reattach other body parts to create your own, I guess, little robo fighter. Unfortunately, I don't have any other LBX kits at the time to show you, but just take my word for it. You can remove every one of his limbs or even his torso and just... It's very simple, and the great thing is, these joints, unlike the hard plastic used to make the rest of the body, the joints themselves are actually made of a softer rubber, so pulling them apart is... I don't feel like they're ever going to break, and that's pretty awesome. The only fragile thing, again, is this cape, which is just paper, and that's kind of sad, but... oh well, what can you do? This figure only comes with one weapon, the Zenon halberd. While the shape and design are great, it's obvious that this is where a little bit of paint could have gone a long way. The chrome stickers also cause the rest of the weapon to look bare in comparison. The end of the staff detaches so that Zenon can wield the accessory, but the connection to the fist is very loose. However, using both hands can solve this issue. The other accessory included is the LBX die. It's got corresponding stats to all the parts of Zenon. The inside of the box also includes a game board. Unfortunately, I have no idea how this is played. Still, an interesting extra nonetheless. One thing I've yet to talk about is the actual build itself, and I have to say, putting together this LBX has been one of the most enjoyable model kit experiences I've had to date. No single aspect to the build was especially tough, and it took me just over an hour to complete. Though, the single most impressive feature about this model kit was in its organization. From the instructions to the plastic sprues to the sticker sheet, every piece was laid out in such a manner that I never found myself lost or confused throughout the entire process. Now I realize that these model kits are aimed at younger children, but even as an adult I can appreciate its simplicity. Going in, I was fairly hesitant when purchasing LBX Zenon, yet through the experience I came out thoroughly impressed. The figure looks great and the build was enjoyable. Despite my complaints with articulation, I felt that the quality of the product was very similar to that of a standard action figure. However, the real key factor to this model kit is in its price. LBX Zenon cost me a total of $8. Factoring that in turns this fairly good toy into a great value, because honestly, there's not much else on the market that's equally comparable, and really, that's the main draw to these kits. So with that said, I eventually expect to amass a huge collection of these. Anyways, this has been Type V3. Thanks for watching, and next time you find yourself shopping online at your favorite Japanese toy store, why not add on one of these LBX kits to pad out the shipping? I guarantee you'll be in for a wonderful surprise.